All right, good morning. This is Mrs. Taylor, and here are some of my favorite tips for drawing realistically. One of my favorite artists to work from is Mark Crilly, and he's got a lot of great YouTube videos instructing how to draw realistically and how to work with realistic shading. So I've taken some of his tips and I'm using one of my starter exercises that I use with students where we practice drawing ribbons and work on the shading for them. So if we're taking a piece of paper, we twist it around first so that we actually get a physical feel for what the ribbon would look like and where the shading would fall. We examine the shading inside, underneath, inside of each twist, and then we work on our sketching from this. So what I like to do first is to have students think about where those twists are and where the overlapping is. And so it doesn't have to be exact for this, but we pencil it in. And then we're going to cross over the ribbons and look for those points at which it twists. By penciling it in really lightly first, we can come back and clean up any areas that we need to after. All right, so now I'm just going to start kind of putting in a little bit of rough shading where I see the darkest parts of the shading on my ribbon. And that would be any place where it's being overlapped by the piece that is twisted on top of it. Clean this area up. And then we have a little bit of shading on here, coming down this side. All right. When I'm working with students to get them to test out different variations of shading and different pressures, I have them flip their pencil over and put their finger on top of it to practice various pressures. I know it's uncomfortable and a little bit awkward at first, but with some practice, I always find that it works better. Clean this up a little here. Sometimes I use my finger to blend. Sometimes we use our blending tools. But it always works. It always helps to have something to draw from if you're working realistically. Observation is definitely a good tool. Smooth out those variations in shading. And this is really more of a beginner exercise that I use with students who have not had art before. And at this point, I'm not so concerned about getting the drop shadows in. We're just starting with the shadows on the object itself. All right, and I'd spend a little bit more time going into it, but my bell is about to ring. I hope that helps. Thanks.